Hey everyone, I'm hanging out at the coffee shop. Thank you for joining me. Gypsy Spirit with Coffee with Gypsy Spirit is what we're doing today. And of course, I'm at my favorite coffee shop here in Charleston, South Carolina, the Charleston Coffee Exchange, where they know me and they start making my coffee. As soon as I walk through the door, they know what I want. But I want to talk about two very touchy subjects today. Money and men. M&M. Money and men. They're both very dangerous subjects to me. I don't know about you, but you know, in the past, in my younger years, I would chase after men. I would. If I wanted him in my life, I would run after him. I'd let him know I was interested. And, you know, that didn't always work out for my best interest. Let me tell you a story that I saw it was a while back ago, about 2-3 years ago. I was invited to do some tarot readings at this bar. They were doing a big event, tequila and tarot, on full moon. And they put me in a little room, and they had people coming in this room, and I was given little private tarot readings. And this young couple came through, and this guy, man and woman that came through, and I'm telling you, this guy was delicious. I mean, he looked so delicious. And of course, he was like 30 years younger than me, but I was drooling, and I told him right in front of his girlfriend, I was like, "You're really hot," you know. And anyway, it turned out it was such a lovely couple. They were in their early 30s, and she was from Spain. And he originally, I think, is from Hilton Head or Myrtle Beach or someplace, but he's living here in Charleston, and he was pursuing an acting career. And I told him, I said, "Why don't you be a model? Because you're pretty hot." And he had his reasons for not wanting to get into modeling. But anyway, I remember they met each other on a cruise, and she was visiting here in Charleston. And so they had decided, he told me that they had decided that by March, this was February when I was doing this reading, or no, January full moon, I was doing the reading. And he told me that by March that they were going to be together. Either he was going to move to Spain or she was going to move here to Charleston. And I've seen situations like this before. And I'm going to tell you something, ladies. One true way to find out if a man really loves you, I don't give a rat's ass where that man is. If you're on the South Pole or North Pole, wherever you're at, if that man really, really loves you, he will figure out a way for the two of you to be together. I don't care where you're at. He will figure it out if he really loves you and wants to be with you. You don't have to go chasing after him. You don't have to do anything, because he'll figure it out. Let him be a man and let him figure it out. These women who go chasing after their men and everything, I mean, I've traveled that path. I know where it leads to, and it's not good. So they'll, if they really love you, they'll do anything. And the other thing, you know, I've had a few friends in the past where their boyfriend moves out of town, and their boyfriends want them to come live with them out of town. And I've seen it where my friend, she has a good job, everything's going good for her here, and her boyfriend, they've been dating for years, and he gets a job out of state, and he wants her to come live with him. And she gives up her job and everything and goes to where he's at. I'm like, "Girl, what you doing? You got got your job here. You got everything going on here. You go give up your life right here and go chase after that man. Go follow that man because he wants you to go live in Virginia or wherever he's at. And you just going to give it all up? Oh, no, no, no. No, no. There's got to be a ring on the finger. Ring on the finger. And I actually had a client that did that. This guy, he had a lot of money. He worked for himself. They were doing some traveling, and she had a really good job. And he wanted her to go live in Australia or someplace, not here in the United States. And she would lift up her finger and be like, got to put a ring on it. And you know what? They broke up. Now, what if she would have followed him all the way to wherever he wanted her to go, and they ended up breaking up? Then she would have to either stay where she was at or start all over, move back, or it's not worth it. And my dad used to always tell me, in regards to relationships, that when a man and a woman live together, the woman loses and the man wins. But if they get married, the man loses and the woman wins. Now, he's very Archie Bunker too. So, but what he meant was, he didn't mean that the man actually loses. It means that, in his day and time, when a man married a woman, I mean, she was put on his insurance plan, and it was community property. I mean, I know it works both ways, but I actually found myself in a situation when I was in my 50s and had absolutely no money, living with a guy. I didn't have a job, living with a guy, and the relationship bombed, and I had to move out, and I had nowhere to go. And this was a time that I was thinking, oh yeah, I remember what my dad told me, and those words came through very strong. And so I've had a couple of, here lately, in the past, I've had a couple of women coming to me with a situation of them, talking about taking their relationship into the next step. And my question always is, what exactly is it that do you want? Do you want to marry him, or do you just want to, live with him? Or, how serious is this relationship? So forth and so on. And I guess, my suggestion is, if you're going to live with him, just make sure that you got your ass covered in case something happens. The relationship doesn't work out or whatever, because I'm telling you, if something happens and you don't have any money, or you don't have a place to go, and everything is in his name, then you're shit out of luck. My little niece, God bless her, she's adorable too. I don't know, she doesn't need to do this, but she met this guy while they were in college, and now she's out of college, and she told her mom that they were going to live together, and her mom about flipped out, and her mom asked me about it. I said, no, that's not good. So this guy, my little niece, she just got this little job where she's probably not making very much money, and the guy is making most of the money. He's got bulk of the money, and they got an apartment, a little one-bedroom apartment. And they had not signed the lease just yet when I talked to my sister-in-law. And she said, well, they got to go sign the lease next week for this apartment. And I told my sister-in-law, I said, you need to advise her, my niece, not to put her name on that lease. Because if something happens and they end up breaking up, and he decides he's done and he moves out, I mean, my little niece, she can't afford, with the money she's making, she can't afford the payments on this apartment. The guy can. He can afford this apartment all by himself. But for some reason, he decided he didn't he didn't want to live there anymore. He didn't want to be with her anymore. For all you know, I mean, things happen. He could find himself another girlfriend to go, live with. She would end up getting stuck with that lease. And I mean, she's very, very young, in her like 21 or 22. Her first apartment on her own. She's just starting her, getting her credit going. I said all it's going to take is for both of them to be on that lease, and for him to leave her with all the responsibility, and she can't afford it. It's going to screw up her credit. It'll screw up his too. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. I mean, you just got to cover your ass. Make sure that whatever you're doing, that you are taking care of you, because when the relationship is over and it's all done, they don't care about you. They're done. They're ready to move on. And so you got to figure out how you can take care of yourself. So fortunately, in my case, I had a lot of friends that helped me out, and I was finally able, like a year later, I was finally able to get on my feet. But I shouldn't have had to go through that, but I did that to myself. In the very end, who's the one that has to take responsibility for whatever happened? And I was the one who fucked up there, because I had an apartment, a very cheap apartment, before I moved in with this guy. And I was on my way, but, then I fell in love, and sex was good and everything, so I moved in with him. But that's a whole nother story. We'll talk about that another time. But anyway, let's talk about money. Money. Eminem, money and men. Two dangerous topics. So, I've always been kind of broke all my life. I've never been like wealthy, or been able to, take all these different vacations and everything. I have friends all the time. Oh, I'm going to Paris. I'm going to this. Like, there's no way that I can do that. But that's all in your head. A lot of it is how we've been conditioned, how we've grown up. And I was definitely conditioned that, you can't afford this, you can't afford that, blah, 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 which is crazy. We do this to ourselves, and there's spies all over this place, and I can't do it inside. But anyway, but I remember, like, I've taken on so many jobs, like just doing stuff that even in my old age, in my 60s, I would be like, why am I doing this? This is crazy. This is for a young person to do. And I remember one day I was driving down the road, and I heard Universe say to me, stop chasing money. Yeah, the same thing with men, stop chasing men. If they want you, they'll find you. You could be on the North Pole, and if one of them wants you, he'll get to you. They know how to find you. And it's the same thing, same concept. And I remember hearing Universe saying, stop chasing after money, let it chase you. I was like, and it took me a while to figure all that shit out. And then, even like I would worry, like I'd have a bill coming up or whatever. And especially like the rent. I'm always paranoid about my rent. I don't know, ever since I was out on my own, my very first apartment, I just always felt like, if you can't, you got to pay the rent. First and foremost, over everything else, the rent is the most important thing that you have to pay, or your mortgage. But if you don't pay your rent, then, and if you're struggling to pay your water or your light bill, you can let the water or light bill go, but you got to pay your rent, because if you don't pay your rent, then you won't have water or lights to have to pay if you don't have a place to live. So that's just always been like in my forefront. And I've heard stories about how people don't pay their rent, and they'll get like a month or two in the rears. I'm like, oh my God, how do they do that? That is like, the rent is like the biggest thing in my life. And have always been like really like super paranoid. And like a week before the rent is due, I don't have the money for the rent, and I'm freaking out. And for somehow the rent money would show up like the day of or the day before it was due. My son was telling me, we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, because I was really running short on rent this past month, and it was like a week before the rent, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to pay the rent. I knew that I had money coming in, but it was going to be like 2 or 3 days after the rent was due, and like, oh, what do I do? And it had been like that for the past 2 months. I mean, when you work for yourself, it's either feast or famine. And I'd had like 2 months full of famine. And I mean, I was able to pay the rent on time and everything, but I like the month prior, after I paid the rent, I think I had like $30 in my bank account, until I saw some money coming in again. But anyway, my son made a comment to me. He's like, Mom, I don't know how you do it, but we've been in this apartment for like 4.5 years, and I've seen you where you had absolutely no money, and then just before the rent's due, somehow it just shows up. You're always able to come through with the rent. And he was right. I was like, yeah, you're right. And the week that the rent was due, guess what? I came into a bunch of money. I mean, I paid my rent and then had a bunch of money left over. So, but here's what I got from the universe when it comes to worry and money and everything. You don't need to worry about money. What you need to do is do what you love to do and enjoy it. That's what life is all about, is to enjoy life. And yes, we have trials and tribulations and things that happen, and life lessons that we have to learn. But worrying about money is not something that we should be worried about. If you trust that the universe is going to take care of it, and just put it in the hands of the universe, it'll all be worked out. And I just, I love doing what I do. I love reading tarot and helping people and doing energy work and seeing the magical miracles that happen when people, from the time they lay on my massage table and I do some Reiki and hot energy on them, and the transformation that I see when they get off the table, the miracle and the magic that happens there. I mean, that's what I live for. And it's like, I don't even have to worry about the money. The money's always there, because believe it or not, and this is surprising, usually the people that come to me, I mean, I set a certain price for my work. I'm amazed at how much people tip me. And I'm not expecting it, I mean, I have a set price. That's all we're good with that. But because they are amazed at the transformation that they just went through, they want to give me more money. So I'm not going to argue with them and say, no, don't give me that money. I'm going to take it. But, I realize that God and I kind of have an agreement. We have a business partnership. I do the work, he takes care of the money, okay? That's he or she. The universe takes care of the money for me. I don't need to worry about the money. I just need to worry about doing what I do and doing what I love to do, and just being there, being present, being there for people, showing up, just show up. I remember I had a friend a long time ago. He's a relationships coach, and that was his thing. That was his theme, was like, just show up. And of course he was talking about romantic relationships, marriages and stuff like that. But yeah, just show the fuck up, and everything else will fall into place. And it's the same thing with work and money, and just show up, do what you love to do, give it to the universe, and just create this business relationship between you and universe, where you do what you love to do and universe will take care of the bills. So it's as simple as that. So speaking of bills, I had to go get 2 new tires. I actually had to make an appointment to get tires put on my car at Costco. I had to pay for them first This was yesterday. I had to go in, I had to make sure they had the tires, I had to pay for them, and they set me up an appointment. So now I'm on my way to go get my new tires. I'm excited because I definitely need new tires on my car. So I hope some of this helps. You know what, if you want your own personal reading, tarot reading, I have all my information in the description box below on how you can get a reading. You can also get weekly readings with me, personal tarot readings every week via video, just like you're seeing, but they're personal. I mean, you're the only one that gets to see the reading, and that's only $20 a month. So if that's something you're interested in, again, my information is down in the box below. Go and read it and learn how to get that. A lot of people that have seen me on YouTube have already started reaching out to me, and they just absolutely love the readings. So check that out. If you like this video and want to see more of my videos, hit the subscribe button. I enjoy talking to y'all. And next time you see me, hopefully I'll have makeup on. I didn't put no makeup on this morning because I had to get out of bed real quick and go take care of something. But I will see y'all again, hopefully tomorrow or the day after. But take care of yourself. Be sure to give yourself a lot of self-love, self-respect, and integrity, and that will pour out to others as well. So we need a little bit more of that here on this planet. Love you all. Bye-bye.